I paid for their Paris vacation. They left me home to pet sit. We'll just stream it for you, Mom texted. Minutes later, they sent a link from their luxury dinner. I replied with an eviction notice. They thought I was joking, until the dog watched me change the locks. We can just stream the Eiffel Tower, Mom texted, as if that made it better. 2 minutes later, they sent a link from their luxury dinner, oysters, wine, and foie gras, while I sat at home with their dog on my lap, eating instant noodles and trying not to throw my phone across the room. They were in Paris. I paid for the tickets, and they left me behind. To pet sit. It wasn't even subtle. The group chat, family vibes, lit up with selfies of my parents, my sister Alyssa, and her boyfriend Josh, all toasting at a candlelit table on the Seine. Wish you were here, Alyssa wrote, followed by 3 laughing emojis. Then, from Mom, you're so sweet for watching Luna. Don't forget to give her the calming drops before bed. She gets anxious without us. I stared at the dog. Luna yawned and rolled over on the throw blanket I had bought last Christmas. That was the moment it snapped. Not the dinner. Not the trip. Not even the audacity of sending me dog instructions like I was the hired help. It was the tone. Like they were doing me a favor by letting me stay behind. Like it was obvious that I didn't belong with them anymore. Like I was the extra piece in the puzzle they were finally brave enough to leave out. I didn't reply. Not to the messages. Not to the link. I just stood up, walked into the hallway, opened the utility drawer, and pulled out a letter I'd been holding on to for 5 months. The lease termination notice. It had their names on it, because they lived in my house. I let them move in just for a bit after Dad lost his job and Mom said the apartment was too cramped. That was a year ago. I covered the rent, the food, even Luna's vet visits. And now I was watching their dog while they clinked wine glasses in Montmartre. So I sent it. A screenshot of the eviction notice. Simple. Formal. No emojis. Hope Paris is worth it, I typed. Then I locked Luna in the bedroom for 5 minutes, walked to the front door, and changed the locks. They thought I was joking, until Luna watched me do it. They didn't reply to the eviction notice that night. Not a single message. Instead, the next morning, I woke up to a Facebook post. Photo of Luna chewing her leash, ears drooped, looking miserable. Caption: some people care more about locks than love. Abandoned while they sip their coffee in our home. Over 300 likes. Comments from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Aunt Marie. That boy always had a cold heart. Cousin Jeremy. Who evicts their own parents over a vacation? Monster. Uncle Rick. Family doesn't kick family out. Hope he enjoys being alone. Mom replied, we forgive him anyway. We always have. I read the post 3 times. Then I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I realized just how long they'd been preparing for this, spinning their side of the story while I was still feeding their dog and paying their Netflix. Let me tell you what they didn't post. I paid for the Paris trip. All of it. Business class tickets, $7,200. Luxury Airbnb with a rooftop view of the Eiffel Tower, $4,600. Daily food budget I loaded onto their travel card, $1,000. A spa day Mom absolutely needed because she was so burned out, $600. All under one condition. Come back with a smile, all of us. They never even booked me a ticket. Never mentioned that Alyssa's boyfriend Josh would be going. I found out through an Instagram reel. Josh and my dad clinking champagne over escargot while the Eiffel Tower glittered behind them. I was tagged as holding down the fort. The comments? Wow, he's such a good son. He always was the responsible one. Classic Daniel, putting family first. No one knew the truth. No one saw the messages I had from weeks earlier, the actual texts. Dad, it's not worth the extra seat. Alyssa, you'll just kill the vibe, bro. We want this to be relaxing. Mom, maybe next year. Luna really needs you. They didn't invite me. They used me. But the gaslighting didn't stop there. That same day, I got a message from my cousin Leah. Leah, hey, just so you know, Emma, our mutual cousin, posted on Reddit. She didn't name you, but yeah, it's obvious. I clicked the link. It was titled, My Cruel Cousin Evicted Our Grieving Parents While They Were Out of the Country. How do we make him see reason? And the top comment? Cut him off financially. Teach him what it's like to be used. That's when I lost it. Because here's what they didn't know. This wasn't the first time. This was the end of a very long line. I paid for Alyssa's grad school. I lent Dad $12,000 when he lost everything in a crypto scheme. I co-signed their apartment when Mom said, you're the only one we can trust. I covered Luna's surgery when they didn't have enough for rent. I let them live rent-free in my house because Dad had a bad back and couldn't manage the stairs in his condo. And in return, they left me behind like I was the neighbor, not the son. They posted photos like I didn't exist. They turned my kindness into their vacation. And now they were painting me as the villain. So I made a decision. No more words. No more explanations. No more quietly taking the high road. I logged into our shared Dropbox account, one I set up years ago to help Dad with his taxes. It had everything. Photos of their plane tickets paid from my Amex. Screenshots of every Zelle and PayPal transfer. PDF receipts labeled Paris 2023, all in my name. Then I uploaded one more file. /evidence/recording_Alyssa.m4a. It was a voice memo from last week. I hadn't planned to keep it. It was meant to be a casual note. But I never deleted it. In it, Alyssa says, laughing, "He thinks he's coming with us? Oh my God. No way. He's useful, not fun. Just wait till he sees the photos, he'll get over it. He always does." I sent that folder to 5 people. My Aunt Marie, my cousin Leah, Emma, Reddit girl, Josh, and the family lawyer, Mr. Harlan. Then I turned off my phone. That night, I got a knock on my door. It was Josh. He stood there, hair messy, no luggage, holding Luna's leash. "She's yours now," he said. "I'm out." I didn't ask anything. He looked me in the eye and said, "They lied to me, man. Said you didn't want to come. Said you were unstable. I've been living with them for 2 weeks. They're not stable people emotionally, I mean. They made me pay for dinner in Paris. Then Mom tried to make me call you a narcissist on video for TikTok. I'm done." That was the first crack. The next came the next morning when Mr. Harlan called. "Daniel," he said, "we need to talk about the lease and your legal options." They came back from Paris on a Thursday. Friday morning, I invited them to dinner. I made it sound gentle. "Let's talk. Just the 4 of us, me, Mom, Dad, Alyssa." I picked their favorite place, the little Italian trattoria they always raved about. Private booths, warm lighting, complimentary breadsticks. They didn't suspect a thing. I wore a dark shirt, rolled sleeves, and silence like a weapon. They walked in laughing, sun-kissed, smug, and slightly tipsy. Alyssa had a tote from the Louvre. Dad wore a ridiculous beret. Mom kissed my cheek like she hadn't lit Facebook on fire 3 days ago. They sat down. So Mom started, her voice buttersoft. "We saw your little tantrum online." Alyssa giggled. "You always did have a flair for the dramatic." Dad just said, "You really think this changes anything?" That's when I pulled out the envelope. 4 pieces of paper, each one a copy, laid them gently on the table like a poker player laying down a royal flush. It was the lease termination. Signed. Finalized. Legally airtight. I had consulted 2 lawyers. The house they lived in, no longer theirs. 30-day notice clock started last week. I didn't need their approval. I owned the property. Mom blinked. Alyssa scoffed. "You're evicting your own family?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm evicting the tenants who lied, stole, and humiliated me." "Daniel," my father started, trying to sound serious. "This is a family matter. We don't involve outsiders." I smiled. "Cool," I said. "Then maybe you should have thought of that before posting our family matter to 300 strangers online. Or when you used my card for a trip you didn't invite me to. Or when Alyssa laughed about how useful I was on tape." That's when I pulled out my phone. I hit play. "He thinks he's coming with us? Oh my God. No way. He's useful, not fun. Just wait till he sees the photos, he'll get over it. He always does." The booth went dead silent. Alyssa's face drained of color. Mom covered her mouth. Dad clenched his jaw and muttered, "You recorded her?" "She recorded herself," I said. "It was a voice memo. I just happened to receive it. Like this one." I clicked the next file. "We need him to think he matters. At least until the mortgage is paid off." That was Mom's voice. "After Paris, I don't care what he says. I'm done pretending. He's not even fun to be around. He's just a wallet with legs." Alyssa again. "He takes everything so personally, honestly. I bet he'll cry when he sees our photos." Laughter. Dad knocked over his water glass. "Enough," he snapped. "This is your family." "No," I said. "It was." I stood up. That's when the second guest walked in. Josh, Alyssa's now ex-boyfriend. He wore a clean button-down, carried a brown envelope, and looked like he hadn't slept, but was finally ready to speak. Alyssa gasped. "What is he doing here?" "I invited him," I said. Josh didn't sit. He just placed the envelope on the table and slid it toward my dad. Financial affidavit, he said. Documented proof that you used Daniel's identity for a credit application last year. He co-signed nothing. That's fraud. Dad tried to stand, but I raised a hand. Sit. He did. Josh wasn't finished. And inside, he said, turning to Alyssa, are screenshots. You told your friends that Daniel had mental episodes, that he was dangerous. You told me not to leave Luna alone with him. I lived with him for 2 weeks. He fed her, walked her, read her labels. You barely remembered what day it was. Josh exhaled, like he'd just put down a boulder. I don't owe you anything, Alyssa. But Daniel does. He deserves truth. Mom reached for the envelope. I snatched it first. Oh no, I said. You've all read enough lies this week. Let me read you something for once. I unfolded a letter written in Dad's handwriting. Not recent. 3 years old. Back when he borrowed $10,000 from me for a business opportunity. It read, if you ever tell your sister about this loan, I'll deny it happened. And don't think being the good son buys you anything. I respect winners, not servants. I held it out like a trophy. Mom whispered, where did you get that? From the same folder where I found the second mortgage application, I said. You know, the one where you signed my name. That's when the final guest arrived. The manager of the restaurant, clutching a reserved table notice. He smiled at me. Ready for your guests, sir? Right on time, I said. Escort them in, please. 4 people walked in. 2 from my lawyer's office. 1 from the property management company. And 1 old man, tall, silver-haired, familiar. Grandpa, I said. My father's face turned gray. Grandpa didn't sit. He simply looked at my dad and said, your son's twice the man you'll ever be. And from now on, he speaks for the family, not you. They left the restaurant without a word. Dad first. Alyssa, in tears, but without dignity. Mom gave me one last look with that same expression she wore my whole life, a mix of disappointment and hope that I would forgive them again. I didn't forgive. After that dinner, I didn't go home. I went to my lawyer's office, signed the final documents on the house. On Monday, the family received an official notice. You have 14 days. After that, court and seizure. They didn't respond. Not right away. Instead, my mother sent a letter through our old family address, the same kind she used to send me birthday wishes. Now it had only 2 sentences. We didn't know you were capable of this, but it's not too late to fix the situation. I didn't open the second envelope. Just fed it through the shredder. That same week, I shut down all joint accounts. For years, Dad had used my bank profile as a backup option. I filed a fraud claim, provided the email where he admitted, I moved it from yours because mine was frozen again. The bank opened an investigation. His account was frozen. He lost access to his own pension. As for Alyssa, she had a different reckoning waiting. I contacted the education board of her university. Remember how I paid for her master's program, and she said everything was registered? That was a lie. She used my payment not for school, but for permanent eyebrows, a designer bag, and 2 months' rent in an apartment with Josh. I submitted a formal complaint for falsifying educational records for tax benefit claims. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived. Your case has been accepted. Internal investigation opened. I acted within my rights. Everything I did was legal and necessary. I wasn't trying to ruin their lives. I was just done funding the lie. I didn't want to destroy their lives. I just wanted to stop paying for the lie. My mother? She chose a different route, begging. First a letter, then a voice message. You're in my dreams. I don't know who you are now, but I still remember you as a little boy with Legos in his hands. We were happy, weren't we? Yes, Mom. But then you decided I was just an ATM. She didn't know I had already filed for a reassessment of property rights for the house they were living in. It used to be listed under a family agreement. I was the legal owner, but they paid a symbolic rent to maintain the illusion of independence. That was over. The new contract, drafted by my legal team, officially named them temporary occupants with no right to remain after the eviction date. What happened to the house? I rented it out. The very first week, 2 applicants. One was a school teacher who'd lost her place after divorce. The other, a veteran looking for a home for his wife and newborn. I chose him. That family moved in on the exact day my parents were supposed to celebrate their wedding anniversary. Instead of a romantic dinner, they were loading boxes into someone else's van. I didn't come to humiliate them. I came to oversee the key transfer. Dad walked out with bags in hand. Saw me. Said nothing. You think this makes you better? He muttered. No, I answered. It makes me free. I didn't want to hurt them. I just wanted to protect myself. Mom stood off to the side. She was holding a photo frame, me as a child, sitting next to the dog, smiling. You're no longer who you used to be, she whispered. And that's the saddest part. No, I said. The saddest part is that you were never who you pretended to be. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just signed the last handover document. And Luna? I kept her. Not out of pity, but because she was the only one in that house who actually got excited when I walked through the door. I registered her with a new vet, bought her a proper bed. And during our first walk in the park, a girl with a coffee looked at us and said, "She really loves you. It's obvious." I smiled. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty about anything. The day they moved out, it rained. Not dramatic thunderstorm rain, just this steady, cold drizzle that soaked everything and made cardboard boxes buckle at the edges. Fitting, really. I stood under the awning as they loaded the last of their things into a borrowed van. No goodbyes. No one turned around. It was the quietest victory of my life. But it didn't feel like triumph. It felt like surgery, necessary, messy, and long overdue. That night I changed the locks. Not just on the house, on every single part of my life that had their fingerprints on it. Joint bank accounts? Closed. Emergency contacts? Updated. My will? Redrafted. And my phone? I changed the number. That was the first symbolic cut. I got a few emails after that. Desperate, then bitter. From Mom. I don't understand how you can just erase us. From Alyssa. Congrats on destroying your family. Hope it was worth it. From Dad. One day you'll need us. We'll see who picks up. I didn't reply. Not once. But I did write one email. Subject line. Final response. Recipients, Mom, Dad, Alyssa. This isn't about one vacation. This is about a lifetime of being your fallback plan. You taught me love was conditional. You taught me generosity was weakness. You taught me that silence was safer than honesty. But I'm not your student anymore. I won't unlearn everything just because you're uncomfortable. You don't get access to me just because you regret losing me. I'm not angry. I'm done. I didn't sign it, love, Daniel. I didn't sign it at all. A week later, I did something that surprised even me. I donated. To a shelter. The same one Luna had come from, years ago. $3,000 in her name. On the donation form under, in honor of, I typed. For the one soul in that house who never asked for anything but love. They sent me a thank you card. It's on my fridge now, more genuine than every birthday card I ever got growing up. That donation? That was the second cut. I moved into a new place, not fancy, not big. Just clean, quiet, mine. No photos on the walls. No memories that don't belong to me. No echoes of raised voices or forced smiles. Every night, I walk Luna down the same street, past a house with ivy-covered windows and wind chimes that sound like glass laughter. One night, a neighbor waved. I saw the last folks moving out, she said. They always seemed tense. You seem lighter. I didn't explain, just smiled. Because yeah, I am lighter. Not because they're gone, but because I'm done waiting for them to change. A month passed. Then two. One afternoon, I walked past a little strip of shops and saw a handmade sign in a window. Looking for weekend help, honest, reliable, detail-oriented. It was a little print shop. Nothing huge. But the smell of ink and paper hit me like childhood, like the library I used to escape to, like something pure. I walked in, asked about the job. The owner was in her 60s. Kind eyes. A small tattoo of a bird on her wrist. You're overqualified, she said, looking at my resume. You sure this is what you want? I'm sure, I said. I just want to build something that isn't falling apart. She nodded. Then welcome. 2 months later, I bought in as a partner. Not because I wanted to be rich. Because I wanted to build something that had nothing to do with my last name. We renamed the shop. Second draft. The first draft was theirs. This one is mine. This wasn't revenge. It was recovery. I wasn't trying to destroy, I was trying to rebuild. That was the third cut. The last time I heard from them, it wasn't a message. It was a letter sent to my old address. I never opened it. I burned it. Not because I was angry. Because I didn't need to hear another version of their guilt. Because I didn't need another plea in disguise. Because closure, for me, wasn't about what they said. It was about what I stopped believing. I stopped believing I owed them anything. I stopped believing I was selfish for walking away. I stopped believing that family meant blood no matter what. No? Family is Luna snoring at my feet. It's the sound of a print press running late into the evening. It's peace, not permission. And if they ever drive by my new shop, they'll see it. The sign above the door, soft black lettering on clean whitewood. Second draft. And just under it, in smaller font. Not for resale. Not for return. That was the final cut. And I didn't feel loss. I felt whole.